This video is aimed at advanced developers who are using Action JavaScript to open up a child grid in response to an event. So for example, when I press this button over here, an event fires that does an Ajax callback and then opens up this grid in a child window or a div or a tabbed UI pane. And the purpose of the video is to show you how you can execute a server-side event when this action takes place. So first let's go back to design mode and look at the onClick event here, and you can see here's the Action JavaScript builder, and you'll see that the builder doesn't expose any property for a server-side Xbasic function to call at the time that the child grid is opened. So first, in order to explain what's happening here, I'm going to just right click on this and say View JavaScript. And when we go and look at the JavaScript, we can see that when the user clicks this button, one of two things is happening. Either the grid object's open child grid event method is being called, or the synchronized grid method is called. So one of those two grid object methods is being called. Now these two methods now both set variables that can be tested in a server-side event. So now what I'm going to do is go to the grid's server-side event code, and you can see here that what we have in the onGrid execute, and this event fires every time an Ajax callback is made. We have some code now that is testing to see whether open child grid is present or synchronized grid is present. These two variables are set by the method that I just demonstrated earlier. So what we're doing in this code over here is we're saying that if open child grid is true or synchronized grid is true, then set the flag execute special event to true, and then if that flag is true, then call the Xbasic function my special event. So I'm going to go now to the Xbasic function and turn off the uncomment line there, so we can actually debug into this code. So this now is going to be effectively our server-side event handler for the situation where the user opens a child grid from a JavaScript action on the client. So we'll go here now, and you can see when we just do any Ajax callback, our event is not firing because those two test flags are not true. But now when we go and open up a child grid, you can see we're now inside my special event, and the reason that we're inside my special event is that those variables have been set. So if we look inside E and look in request variables, we see that open child grid is true, and which is why this event is firing now. So let's go ahead and run, and then close down the debugger, and you can see there's our child grid. But now when we do some action on the child grid, we're not firing that event. Now when we close this down and open up, click the button a second time now, we can see that the event fires again, but this time it's not the open child grid flag that was set, but instead it's the synchronized grid flag that is true. So that caused this event to fire. So effectively what we've done is add a server-side event handler to the action of opening a child grid, even though the builder, the Action JavaScript builder, didn't expose that explicitly as a property of the action. Thanks very much.